Was that Nana?
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
What person from the 1960s do you most admire?
Me?
Anybody else? No?
I'm kidding, of course. Who do I admire the most? I never thought of that. I'm not one to really have idols. I thought Martin Luther King was someone to listen to. Who else? I kept thinking of me. Who did I admire? Yeah. Oh, I think I liked Dwight Eisenhower because he helped win the war, World War II, and then it succeeding. Well, after World War II, of course, the prisoners of war that were captured by the Japanese, and my stepdad was one of them, were released. And of course, my stepdad was, his normal weight was like 180 pounds. But when he was rescued by the 7th Rangers, he was only 76 pounds. That's how the Japanese soldiers mistreated the prisoners of war in the Philippines. And so I thought Eisenhower did a great thing there. But as far as admiring, I'm having a hard time with that question because I have not. Well, I cannot name names, but what I really admire, if I may say today, is people who strive. I think, yeah, I do admire. I come to think of it, the Vietnamese students. I had some Vietnamese students. They couldn't speak English. They came with their dictionaries, English Vietnamese dictionaries, and then during break time, they would come to me and ask me to explain what I had discussed during class. Usually, if we have a break, I don't want to talk because I talk. I lecture. College classes, you lecture. You don't. So I wanted to rest my voice. But with my Vietnamese students, I didn't care. I wanted to talk to them, and I'd even share my notes with them. Those kids I admired. I finally found somebody I admired. Yeah, those kids, I really did. I really appreciated them.
What was your favorite music group?
I didn't have any. There were there were a lot of them in the 60s, 70s, and so forth. Once in a while, I like to listen to Pat Boone. I disliked Elvis Presley so much because I thought he wiggled his butt too much. But in later years, when he started singing gospel music, I finally appreciated his voice. Yeah, he did a good job. But when he was singing all this, nothing but a hot dog and all these other songs, I'm like, how silly. But see, those were my younger years, and I was very conservative. As I got older, with the opposite. See, most people, when they're young, they're very liberal, then they become conservative. I am the opposite. I was so conservative, and as I grew older, I became more and more liberal. So, but my choice of music are not the groups. My choice of music would be individual singers like Pavarotti and Andrea Bocelli, Maria Callas, classics, opera singers. Those are my favorites. Oh, and Lady Gaga. I finally discovered Lady Gaga when she sang something like Believe or something, and she studied like 6 months. She vocalized for 6 months, and learned this one song, and then she sang it. My God! I said, wow, she really has a lovely voice. See, I even like Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Do you have a favorite humorous memory from the 1960s?
1960s. Humorous memory? Oh, gee. Oh, I used to like the Beverly Hillbillies, but I don't know if that was the 60s. Nana, do you remember when the Beverly Hillbillies were?
No,
Or it was
I hardly
the s-
watched those.
in the 1960s? Yeah, maybe you can look it up.
If you don't, it's fine.
It's hard to remember. Who was funny? Oh, I know. Red Skelton.
I don't know what that is.
I thought he was really funny. Red Skelton was really funny. You guys would know.
Is he a comedian?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he was a comedian.
Is there a sad memory that has stuck with you?
Many.
Oh, God.
You got 10 hours?
How about
No, I'm
just
kidding.
one?
I'm kidding. Oh yeah, I have a lot of sad memories. Of course, the number one was, of course, when I lost my mom. Then when I discovered when I was maybe 3 years old that I didn't have a dad. Then the war. I started, we didn't have any money, so I started helping my mom because she was worried we wouldn't have nothing to eat. So I started selling homemade cakes, and I would buy 6 for a nickel, and my profit would be the 6th one. I never ate the 6th one, no matter how hungry I was. But that didn't make me sad. What made me sad was when I started selling like empanadas, and I, more than the other kids and other adults, would sell more because I would chase after buses. This was during the war. And the buses would go like 10 miles an hour anyway. I mean, they were really slow. And I would sell because people felt sorry for me. I mean, adults turned me into the Japanese soldiers. They wanted me to be arrested. I was 10 years old. They wanted me to be arrested. Until today, I cannot forget that. How cruel people can be.
That's awful.
But there were several others, but I don't want to dwell on that. I don't want to get you guys involved in my sad things.
Do you view the 1960s as a good time or a bad time in history?
It was an interesting time. Society was changing. Of course, we had some very sad happenings in the 60s, the assassination of John Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, and the discrimination against not only women but against people of color. I didn't like that at all. So it was interesting. We had bands, groups and stuff, which I did not patronize simply because I was too busy. I was too busy working. I was teaching, like, when I left ABC, I worked for the Girl Scouts, and then I started teaching. And I was teaching during the day, and I taught two nights a week, 3 hours each. So I'd lecture for like 3 hours at night. And I'm busy reading so that I know all these things. That's why my students used to call me walking encyclopedia. Not big, and that wasn't true. I was not a walking encyclopedia. I just read and read and read, and so I was busy. But it was a very interesting decade because we had a lot of changes, and we were still reeling from what they call the red scare of the 1950s, but that's another decade.
What impact or influence did the 1960s have on your country?
The United States.
Yeah.
What impact in the 60s? Well, it kind of changed the landscape, I think. Your civil rights movement, with the blacks, they were called different names. They were called Negroes at one time. They're called Africans now, African Americans. But I think my basic concept of the thing was it was long overdue. The civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King, and the lady that refused to sit in the back. What in the heck was her name?
Rosa Parks?
Rosa Parks. Yeah. Rosa Parks. Hey, those guys were, well, she was not a guy, but and everyone. There was a young boy that was killed too, and then
Emmett.
Yeah,
Emmett Kelly.
No,
And then
Emmett Till?
yeah,
Huh?
Emmett Till.
Emmett Till?
Till, yeah. Emmett Till. Yeah, I think they contributed so much, so much to the status. Now we have, we had a president who was a man of color, Barack Obama. We have CEOs, heads of big corporations are black, and Middle Eastern or Hispanic. So I think that was a great movement. And also the women who started the women's movement, and extension of the voting rights to the black African Americans. I think that was great. It changed the tapestry of this country. I think it was horrible before. All this discrimination against people. That wasn't right.
All right, so last question.